सानिध्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदानं सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तत्पकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये. So continuing to discuss the purport of Srila Prabhupada on this very important verse. What does the second verse that we are discussing signify? Anyone remembers? What does the first verse signify? Janmadiyasya yatah. Devadatta, what does the first verse signify? Janmadiyasya yatah.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. It tells about the Abhideya whom we are praying.
No, first verse does not tell about the Abhideya. देवाशीष, पहला जो श्लोक है जन्मादियस्य यतः, हमें क्या स्थापित कराता है?
कृष्ण जी
बताइए. आपको थोड़ा ध्यान से पढ़ना पड़ेगा. सुन तो सब रहे हैं, लेकिन कितने लोग पकड़ पा रहे हैं, कितने के हृदय में जा रहा है, बाकी तो जा नहीं रहा है. ये देखो, ये सबसे छोटा बच्चा सुन रहा है, हाँ, हंस भी रहा है, तो सुन रहा है. लेकिन अगर इस प्रकार से हम, हमारे फिर सुनने का लाभ ही क्या जब हम कुछ उसको अंदर नहीं ले जा रहे हैं. गणेश प्रभु, Ganesh, you are able to hear?
Yes, Prabhuji. About the sambandha, Prabhuji, the relation between.
Yeah, it gives about the object, the subject of this work of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And who is that? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And then the details that he is the Janmadiyasya Anvyad Itarastha Charteshu Abhigna Swarata. And then more details. Tena Brahm Hridaya Adi Paviya. So it talks about the subject and the object of this book. And the second verse that we are discussing, what is the significance of this second verse? पैरट की तरह याद कर लिया, ठीक है. अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या है इसकी? सेकंड लाइन यही है, वेद्यम वास्तवम अत्र वस्तु शिवदाम. So what is Vedyam? Vedyam means the understanding, or how it can be understood. What is to be understood from the second verse? What we are discussing? This is the third day. Bolliye Ganesh, what is to be understood?
Prabhuji, the process which we can achieve the goal, so that we can understand from this verse.
Still not clear. What is the process?
The
Really?
process of
Huh?
the process of devotional service, Prabhuji, that
What is that process of devotion? Again, very vague. Very, very vague. Not applying your head and heart in the subject matter. Very far away. आप बताइए प्रियंका. I've spoken about it so many times. What does the second verse signify? What is the importance of this second verse? Why we are discussing so much in detail?
The process of hearing attentively and submissively to Bhagavatam.
Yes, the subject matter is the glory of Bhagavatam. Unless and until we have glories of Bhagavatam in our heart, why we will hear? The same kind of hearing will be there. Prabhupada says hearing without attention, hearing without submission, hearing without heart, and hearing like hogs. So unless the glory of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is established, where that value and importance to Bhagavatam will be given? So this Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature. The glory of it is that it has been compiled in the mature stage by Srila Vyasadeva. So this is talking about the glory of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The first verse talks about the subject matter or the object of Bhagavatam. So many times I have discussed. Again, I am repeating. The second verse talks about the glories of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And the third verse will speak about the goal of Bhagavatam. That we will discuss most likely tomorrow. So we discussed that dharma projito kaitava atra parmo nirmat saranam satam. That Bhagavatam kicks out all the four elements of so-called religious principles. Dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Why it kicks out all these four? Because it is all based on sense gratification. Okay, we'll go further in the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, these men are interested in factories, shops. I'm just capping from the last discussion, some of the main points. So man is thriving economically, so as to present, he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques and temples are now practically vacant. This proves that religion is performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. So all these four processes of dharma, artha, kama and moksha have been completely rejected from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Now going forward. In the Vedas, the above mentioned four activities are prescribed in the regulative way so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. That day we were discussing, the Vedas mentioned these four activities in a prescribed and regulative way. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is transcendental to all these sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature which can be understood only by pure devotees of the Lord, who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. So those who are not in the pursuance of sense gratification, those who are pure, those who have given up the path of artha and kama at least. What to speak about moksha? Hardly anyone is aspiring for moksha. So unless and until one is sufficiently purified from the desires of artha and kama. So Prabhupada is saying this can be understood only by pure devotees who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competitions. They do not compete with the materialist because they are on the path back of Godhead, where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non-envious and pure in heart. You saw that video? That how transcendentalists are pure in heart and non-envious? How many of you saw the video I posted in the morning of two of our acharyas? How they meet, every opportunity they get to meet, and how they respect each other. How it is possible, even in this advanced age, when the body is not supporting. You saw the gestures? How it is possible? Because they are on that platform. That is the platform where there is no competitive sense gratification. Because they are on the path of back to Godhead. Such transcendentalists are non-envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not only free from material envy, but are well-wishers of everyone. And they strive to establish a competitionless society with God in the center. The contemporary socialist conception of a competitionless society is artificial, because in the socialist state, there is competition for the post of dictator, isn't it? We see that one dictator gets killed, and the other takes his post and position. From the point of view of the Vedas, or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis. See, very important. See how Prabhupada is giving the purport. He says, from the point of view of the Vedas, or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of material life. There are three paths mentioned in the Vedas. Hear very attentively. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. What is it? Karma Kanda. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of the demigods. This is called Upasana Kanda. And another involves realizing the absolute truth in its impersonal feature and becoming one with him. We discussed till here, which is called the Jnana Kanda. Now Prabhupada will further elaborate. The impersonal aspect of the absolute truth is not the highest. Above the impersonal feature of the Paramatma feature, and above this is the personal feature of the absolute truth or Bhagwan. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives information about the absolute truth in its personal feature. It is therefore higher than impersonal speculations and the Jnana Kanda divisions of the Vedas. So study of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is much higher than the study of Vedas. Why? Because by study of Vedas, one can come to the realization of impersonal aspect of the Supreme Absolute Truth. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is even higher than the impersonal. It is therefore higher than impersonal speculation and Jnana Kanda division of the Vedas. What to speak of the Karma Kanda division? Now comes the point. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is even higher than the Upasana Kanda. What is Upasana Kanda? I just mentioned. Yeah, please answer. Yes, Ramya, boliye.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, worshipping demigods to transfer into higher planets.
Yeah. No, higher planet is not Upasana Kanda. The first purpose of fruitive activity to higher planet is Karma Kanda. You see? Here it is. In the above, it is mentioned. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. Yeah, other also for promotion to the planets of the demigod. In any case, in both cases, the purpose is to go to higher planets to profusely enjoy. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is even higher than the Upasana count because it recommends the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, the Divine Son of Vasudeva. In the Karma Kand, there is competition to reach heavenly planets for better sense gratification. And there is similar competition in the Gyan Kand and Upasana Kand. Okay. So this is how all the three are kicked out. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is superior to all these because it aims at the supreme truth, which is the substance or the root of all categories. From Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one can come to know the substance as well as the categories. This is Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu. We will discuss that. Get time, we will discuss that. The substance is the absolute truth. What is the substance called? It is the Vastu. Vastavam Vastu. Factual object. Which is the substance or the root of all categories. From Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one can come to know the substance as well as the categories. The substance is the absolute truth, the Supreme Lord, and all emanations are relative forms of energy. Nothing is apart from the substance. But at the same time, the energies are different from the substance. We discussed that in the first verse also. Shakti, Shakti Matayor, Abheda Tattvaha. There is simultaneous oneness and difference between the energies and the energetic. So here it is saying nothing is apart from the substance, but at the same time energies are different from the substance. This conception is not contradictory. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam explicitly promulgates this simultaneously one and the different philosophy of Vedanta Sutra, which begins with the Janmadi Asyataha. How it is? Directly and indirectly. Oneness and difference. We discussed that. I hope it is clear. This knowledge that the energy of the Lord is simultaneously one and different from the Lord is the answer to the mental speculators' attempt to establish the energy of the Absolute. When this knowledge is factually understood, this is the explanation of the second line. Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu. What does Vedya means? Vedya means that how to understand this subject matter. And Vastava means what is the substantial subject matter. And what is that substantial subject matter? It is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is the permanent object. So, Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu. So, things of this world are avastu. They are unreal. And anything which is related to the Lord is real. So, that conception or that difference is explained in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The Prabhupada is saying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam explicitly promulgates this simultaneously one and different philosophy of the Vedanta Sutra. Okay, then we are further. When this knowledge is factually understood, one sees the conception of monism and dualism to be imperfect. Monism means oneness and dualism means difference. So both is not absolute. Neither there is complete oneness, neither there is complete difference. Simultaneously both. when this knowledge is factually understood, one sees the conception of monism and dualism to be imperfect. Development of this transcendental consciousness, grounded in the conception of simultaneously one and different, leads one immediately to the stage of freedom from the threefold miseries. Tapo, Vedyam, Vastavam, Atra Vastu, Shivadam. Shivadam means all auspiciousness. And our Acharya says, what is the auspiciousness? That one is completely freed. One becomes imbued with the prema of the Lord. He becomes a devotee. He becomes an associate of the Lord. So that is the ultimate Shivadam, auspiciousness, which is bestowed by Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Just see, by hearing Bhagavatam, by serving Bhagavatam, one can become an associate of the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is saying here that development of this transcendental consciousness. What is the transcendental consciousness? Of simultaneous oneness and difference. Vedyam, Vastavam, Atra Vastu. Then there is Shivadam. What is the Shivadam? It leads one immediately to the stage of freedom. Is free from Tapotraya Unmoolanam, from threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are those miseries which arise from the mind and body, those miseries inflicted by other living beings, and those miseries arising from natural catastrophes over which one has no control. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam begins with the surrender of the devotee unto the absolute person. How it begins? With the surrender to the absolute person. How Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam begins with the surrender to the absolute person? We have discussed that from the first verse. I am asking the pramana. Yes, Manoram Prabhu? What is the pramana? That it begins with the surrender to the Supreme Absolute Truth. Okay, Devadat. Very happy to see your hand raised. बताइए.
प्रभु जी पहला जो श्लोकस बिगिन होता है ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, तो हम प्रे करके सुप्रीम एब्सोल्यूट से फिर स्टार्ट करते हैं, तो वैसे.
हाँ. So we are paying obeisances. So paying obeisances is also the process of surrender. Okay, very good. But that is not all. There is more in it. Yes, Manoram, she has helped you. Now you completed. At least yes. पहले पढ़ लीजिए. So that क्योंकि हमारा absorption कहीं और होता है, तो at least वो absorption break होगा और यहाँ connect होगा, वरना क्लास ओवर हो जाएगी, कनेक्शन होगा नहीं. बोलिए.
In first verse, Prabhuji, you have seen that the Supreme Lord has been called as Sattam Param Dhimai.
Yes, so, very good, precise answer. Satyam Param Dhimai. Yes, explain.
Yes, Prabhuji. So there it has been explained that the Supreme Lord is the absolute truth. He is the Param Satyam, means nothing beyond is there, Prabhuji. So he is the absolute truth. And
yeah, and that absolute person is the son of Vasudev. He has appeared as the one son of Vasudev, Lord Shri Krishna. So I meditate and I surrender unto him. That is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. See, if after a little bit of attentive hearing and reading, you'll be able to see how Prabhupada is explaining the purports. Prabhupada is explaining this purport, he is explaining the purport of the first verse. See, we are connecting so much. Prabhupada is explaining the first verse in this verse in continuation. In connection and in continuation. This is how we have to understand Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is progressive. Every scripture, Bhagavad Gita, is also progressive. That is why it is very important. If you have not understood the first verse, how can you understand the second verse? If you don't understand the first and the second verse, how can you enter into the third verse? You see how much Prabhupada is quoting from the first verse itself in this second verse. And when we will go to the third verse, we will see the same progression Prabhupada is putting forth. This is a very important aspect. One of our teachers explained, he made us see very clearly how Prabhupada writes his purports. Of course, he's much more advanced. He's much more into alignment with what Srila Prabhupada is presenting. So he can very easily see and how Prabhupada is explaining the purport. Okay, we'll go forward. So, development of this transcendental consciousness. What is this consciousness? Simultaneous, oneness, and difference. And how it is explained in this word? Vedyam vastavam atra vastu. And what is that? Vedyam is that object to be understood. And how it is to be understood? It is understood by the process of hearing. What is the object? The object is only one, the Supreme Absolute Truth. That is Lord Shri Krishna. So that is Vedyam, to be understood. And he is Vastavam, he is factual. Everything else in this material world is relative. So he is that permanent object. He is that substantial object which is to be understood. And with him, what is to be understood? His name, fame, qualities, his pastimes, his devotees, his paraphernalia, his abode. That is what is the subject matter of this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So, it is differentiated from this material world, which is avastu, which is unreal, which keeps on changing. And what it will provide, if we have understood this, Shivadam. It will invoke all auspiciousness. What auspiciousness? It will free us from all illusion. Like Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Yad Gyatva na punarmoha. And this auspiciousness will uplift us to come to the platform of realizing the absolute truth and developing love for him. That is Shivadam. That is the ultimate blessing or the benefit. And how it begins? Unmulanam. What is Unmulanam? As Prabhupada is explaining, the three tap. Trapatraya Unmulanam. Okay, 1 minute. I have to share it. You're able to see the screen? So see how Prabhupada is explaining the purport. So one is immediately to the stage of freedom from the threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are those miseries which arise from the mind and body, those miseries inflicted by other living beings, and those miseries arising from natural catastrophe, over which one has no control. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam begins with the surrender of the devotee unto the absolute person. The devotee is fully aware that he is one with the absolute and at the same time in the eternal position of servant to the absolute. In the material conception, one falsely thinks that is vastu. This is vastu. The devotee, Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu. What is the factual position? That the devotee is fully aware that he is one with the absolute. That is oneness. Oneness of quality. And at the same time, the eternal position of servant to the absolute. And in the material conception, one falsely thinks himself the Lord of all his service, and therefore is always troubled by the threefold miseries of life. But as soon as he comes to his real position, as transcendental servant, he at once becomes free from all miseries. As as long as the living entity is trying to master material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming a servant of the Supreme. Very, very important. This is our problem. This is the crux of our problem. We are trying to master material nature, and at the same time, we are trying to make a show of becoming servant of the Supreme. Prabhupada is saying that as long as the living entity is trying to master material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming servant of the Supreme. Service to the Lord is rendered in pure consciousness of one's spiritual identity. What is the spiritual identity? That he is part and parcel of the Supreme. By service, one is immediately freed from material encumbrances. So that Shivadam, that auspiciousness, which is invoked through the study of Bhagavatam, is when one comes in this consciousness. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, even if one is impure, even if one is selfish, so Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam can gradually uplift the hearer, the reader, to come to this position of realizing one's spiritual identity. How? By hearing Bhagavatam is also one of the greatest service, devotional service. The 5 most important limbs of devotional service, one of them is Bhagavad Shravana. And one is immediately freed from material income. Over and above this, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the personal commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Srila Vyasadeva. It is written in the maturity of his spiritual life. So, this is also very important. As we had discussed previously also, like you people do, we do schooling, and then we do graduation, and then we do post-graduation, and some of you, very scholarly people, you do PhD also. So your PhD, what you have done, or your post-graduation, what you have done, it does not matter what was your understanding at the level of graduation. So that has been developed, or that has progressed. So here it is said that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the personal commentation of the Vedanta Sutra by Srila Vyasadeva. It is written in the maturity of his spiritual life through the mercy of Narada. That's a very beautiful verse in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The last chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I will take it. We have time. We will discuss that. Okay, you have understood what is Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapotrayonmulanam. First we discussed first 2 days Dharma Projito Kaitava Atra Parmo Nirmat Saranam Satam. Clear? My dear, please speak. I am trying to, pour out my heart to explain to all of you so that there is no misconception or no misunderstanding. And today we are discussing Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapotrayonmulanam. Have you understood or not? Or what have you understood? Oh, she is clapping. She is very happy today. Huh? You want to hear the tension. Very good. बोलो बाबा, जल्दी बोलो. Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu समझ में आ गया? What is Vedyam? Is the understanding. And Vastavam of that factual thing, that actual thing. What is that factual and actual thing? Is the Supreme Lord, which is permanent. Atra Vastu. So how to have the realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth? Is how, please answer. How to have the realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth? Tell me. I discussed for more than half an hour. Now everyone should answer. Why only one person is to answer? Pradeep, how that realization of Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu? What is recommended here from Srila Prabhupada's purport? What is the understanding? Speak quickly, Prabhu. Don't waste time. I don't like, inattention.
So, one has to become the associate of the Lord.
One will not become the associate of the Lord just by speaking. What is that process? It is defined.
By hearing.
No, not just by hearing. What is there in hearing? I defined that. What is that vastavam? What is the understanding of vastavam? What is to be applied in vastavam? Then again, you are not hearing.
Understanding, knowing about the Supreme Lord.
What are the details? I discussed the details. Knowing about the Supreme Lord. Yes, प्रियंका, सोनिका, आप बताएंगे?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you discussed that what means we have to know the Vastavam thing means the supreme personality of Godhead, the absolute truth through Bhagavatam means here, and it will give us. It will
That is
Sivada means
just remain here. I'm just discussing one point. I'm asking on this vastavam. What is that vastavam?
Vastavam, the supreme Lord Prabhuji, the Vasudev.
That is true. But how to understand him? How to realize him?
Prabhuji, by daily hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
True, but there are more details to that. That is why we are taking so much time. And we are explaining. Manoram Prabhu, what is that vastavam?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The reality is talked about the simultaneous oneness and difference of the energies of the Lord.
Okay, but still
And,
very primary.
and that the Supreme Lord is above, the knowledge about the Supreme is above, then this Gyan Kand, Karma Kand, those knowledge.
True, very true. But still, what is that essential element that will help one realize the vastavam, vastu? In the hearing, what is important?
This service.
Okay. Who will add? There is a missing, important aspect is still missing. What you have said is all correct. But still the substantial part is still not expressed. Yes, Sonika?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, without selfishness and enviousness.
That is true. That is true. Otherwise, one cannot enter. That is, we have already discussed. Param nirmat saranam satam. That we have discussed long back. What is that vastava? Who would like to answer? Ravindra Prabhu, what is that vastava?
Yes, Prabhu, the relationship with the Supreme Lord and how the jiva is simultaneously oneness and difference with the Supreme Lord.
And already Manoram Prabhu has said. So how one can realize that? Oneness and simultaneous difference.
Through this transcendental consciousness.
So how that transcendental consciousness, how will come to that platform? Vedya means the understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth. How to understand? It is through the process of hearing. Okay. And Vastava means the factual, that substantial object which never changes, which is permanent. That is the supreme absolute truth. How to realize him? That is all true, that he is simultaneously one and different, and he has to be approached in pure transcendental consciousness. So what one has to do? Vedyam Vastavam. One has to hear. Hear about what? I've given you the answer now.
Hear about his name.
Hear about the name, fame, glory of the Supreme.
आपके आप तो कुछ बचा ही नहीं ना, आप तो मैंने बोल ही दिया. This is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Not hear anything and everything. Here only in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is talked about name and form, qualities, paraphernalia, abode, and the associates of the Lord. This is Vastava. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is filled with the narrations of the Supreme Lord and His pure devotees. This is Vastava. Atra, herein. Where? What is herein? In this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Vastu. That is of the transcendental abode. Vastu means which is permanent. Anything of this material world is everything, and anything of this world is impermanent. And then it is Shivadam. Then if you are hearing, and how to be heard, from whom to hear, that all details we have discussed. So Tapotraya Unmulanam. Okay. So we have discussed both these lines. As soon as one comes to know his real position as transcendental servant, he is at once becomes free. I think we have read this. As long as the living entity is trying to master material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming servant of the Supreme. Service to the Lord is rendered in pure consciousness in one's spiritual identity. By service, one is immediately free from material encumbrances or material miseries. Over and above this, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the personal commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Sri Vyasadeva. It is in the spiritual maturity of the spiritual life through the mercy of Narad. Srila Vyasadeva is the authorized incarnation of Narayan, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, there is no question as to his authority. He is the author of all other Vedic literatures, yet he recommends the study of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam above all others. Manoram Prabhu, show this verse. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 12th canto, 13th chapter and 19th verse. What Srila Prabhupada is explaining. Again, Srila Prabhupada is explaining from the glory of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This is the final chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. 12, 13, 19. Yeah. Kasmayena vibhashito ayam atulo jnana pradipa pura tadrupena chanardaya munaye krishnaya tadrupina yoga indraya tad atmanatha bhagavadrataya karuna yatas Tatshuddham Vimalam Vishokam Amritam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Very beautiful. Here also, this is the almost final conclusion. Satyam Param Dhimahi. And how it begins? Kasmai Yena Vibhashitoyam. That supreme absolute truth is fully revealed in this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That is what is being said. I meditate upon that pure and spotless supreme absolute truth, who is free from suffering and death, and who is the beginning person, who is the beginning, who in the beginning personally revealed this incomparable torchlight of knowledge to Brahma. Who is that? Narayana. See show the verse, please. Tad rupena cha narada muniye krishnaya tad rupina. So it is given to Brahma from Lord Narayana, and from Narayana it has passed on to Narada. So the beginning personally revealed this incomparable torchlight of knowledge to Brahma. Brahma then spoke it to his sage Narad, who narrated to Krishna, Dvaipan, Vyas. Srila Vyasadeva revealed this Bhagavatam to the greatest of sage Shukdev Goswami, and Shukdev mercifully spoke it to Maharaj Parikshit. So this transcendental knowledge or revelation is in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So one of the aspects of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is that the supreme absolute truth is fully revealed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And how it is being revealed? It is being revealed through the Supreme Lord Himself. He revealed first to Brahma, Lord Narayana revealed to Brahmaji, and from Brahma it was revealed to Narada, and from Narada to Vyasa and Shukdev, and then further it is being followed. Okay, you can stop it. We'll complete the purport. To the mercy of Narada, Shri Vyasadeva is the authorized incarnation of Narayan, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, there is no question as to his authority. He is the author of all Vedic literature, yet he recommends the study of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam above all others. In the Purana, there are different methods set forth by which one can worship the demigods, that is, Upasana Kand. But in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, only the Supreme Lord is mentioned. The Supreme Lord is the total body, and the demigods are the different parts of the body. Consequently, one who worships the Supreme Lord does not need to worship the demigods, because the Supreme Lord becomes fixed in the heart of the devotee immediately. Anyone remembers the verse? We discussed the verse in the first session. Anyone remembers the verse? Yes? Dayashil Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Sadhya Hrida Avaruddhate Atra
Yes.
Kirtivi Susrusavi.
Very good. It is there in this verse itself.
Yes.
Sadhya Hridaya Varodhate Atra Kritivi Sushrubhi Tarshana. Very good. It is there in this verse itself. This is the glory. This is the glory of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So where is the Kim va pare Ishvare? Where is the need of any other literature? This is what is explained here. But in the Bhagavatam, only the Supreme Lord is mentioned. The Supreme Lord is the total body, and the demigods are different parts of the body. Consequently, one who worships the Supreme Lord does not need to worship the demigod, because the Supreme Lord becomes fixed in the heart of a devotee immediately. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as the spotless Puran distinguished from all other Puranas. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana Amalam Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam. The proper method of receiving the transcendental message is to hear it submissively. Again, Prabhupada is focusing. A challenging attitude cannot help one realize the transcendental message. One particular word is used herein for proper guidance. This word is Shushrubhi. One must be anxious to hear this transcendental message. The desire to sincerely hear is the first qualification. Less fortunate people are not at all interested in hearing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It's very, very practical. Most practical aspect. How many are hearing? Let's count. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we are 10 or 12 people together. And how much is the big group? Ganesh Prabhu? Why you have switched off your video? Ganesh? There are more than 300 people. Out of 300 people, 10, 12 people are hearing. Why it is so? Prabhupada is diagnosing the disease. Here, see, here very attentively. Less fortunate people are not at all interested in hearing this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The process is simple, but the application is difficult. Prabhupada says that in Bhagavad Gita also. The process is simple, but the application is difficult. Unfortunate people find enough time to hear ideal social and political conversations. But when invited to attend a meeting of devotees to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they suddenly become reluctant. Or they indulge in hearing the portion of Bhagavatam they are unfit to hear. The Prabhupada is talking about which portion of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? You all know? Yes, Sonika?
The 10th canto, especially the Ras Panchamdhyas.
Yeah, Ras Panchamdhyas, which they are unfit. So what is recommended, they will never accept. Why? Because if they accept, their fortune will change. Sometimes professional readers of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam immediately plunge into the confidential topics of the pastime of Supreme Lord, which they interpret as sex literature. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is meant to be heard from the beginning. Prabhupada is saying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is meant to be heard from the beginning. Those who are fit to assimilate this work are mentioned in this shloka. One becomes qualified to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam after many pious deeds. It is not so cheap. The intelligent persons with thoughtful discretion can be assured by the great sage Vasudeva that he can realize the Supreme Personality directly by hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This is sadhyo hriday avarodhate. At kritibhi. Kritibhi means who are pious, who have performed pious activities in the past life and in this life. That is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. What is the verse? Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. 7.28. Yesham tu antagatam papam. And jananam punya karmanam. Rikriti. So for such person, they can perform bhajante mam jidamata. Te dvanda moho nirmukta bhajante mam jidamata. So hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam nityam Bhagavat Sevaya, a very potent, very powerful process for realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth. The Prabhupada is saying one becomes qualified to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam after many pious deeds. Our most pious deed is to hear Bhagavatam directly. In one stroke, you surpass everything else. The intelligent person with thoughtful discretion can be assured by the great sage Vasudeva that he can realize the Supreme Personality directly by hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, without undergoing the different stages of realization set forth in the Vedas. One can be lifted immediately to the position of Paramhamsa simply by agreeing to receive this message. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So by the divine grace of Srila Prabhupada, we discussed to some extent the second verse, very, very important verse, the Abhideya verse. What is the Abhideya? The Abhideya is to hear. And how one is to hear? With attention, with submission. With the object to understand and realize the Supreme Lord. Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu. And in the process, it is Shivadam, Trapota and Mulanam. It is automatic. And what is the real result? The real result is Hridaya Avarodhate, Sadhyo Hridaya Avarodhate Atra Prithibhi. Shushrubi Tashanat. Okay, so whatever is my little understanding, whatever I have heard so many years, and especially in our Bhakti Vaibhav, so I shared with all of you. Although in our Bhakti Vaibhav also we did not discuss in so much detail. So first two verses, at least first reading is done. So if there is any discussion or any doubt or any question, please ask. Yes, Sonika.
Prabhuji, I have two queries.
Okay.
First, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that who have the pious deeds in previous life or this life, they can only be the listener, hearer of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Prabhuji, due to the mercy of Vaishnavas also, we can hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, no?
Yeah, that is why we are hearing. Is our position Yesham tu anta gatam papam? Jananam punya karmana. Are we danda voho vinurmukta? You read the show. Manoram Prabhu show 7.28. See the qualification. Do we stand anywhere? Krishna is saying, Yesham tu antagatam papam. Can we say? Can we say with full confidence that in this life I have not committed any sin, no papam, free from papam?
No, Prabhuji. No, Prabhuji.
And can we say our reactions of previous pap are completely free? Then? And can we say that our punya karma nam has completely manifested, that I only do punya karma and there is no pap, there is only punya? And then dvanda and moha are nirmuktaha. Then Krishna is saying bhajante mam dranavrata. That bhajan also means to hear. It is only mercy. Okay. But
Yes.
mercy also means what? Kripa. Close the share. Kripa means what? It is the combination of two words. Kar and pa. To the extent we are sincerely making endeavor according, you can close the screen share, Manoram Prabhu. To the extent we are aligning our heart and our head in compliance to what the acharyas are speaking or he is instructing, to that extent we are accessing kripa, mercy. And what about those who are kripana? Prabhupada is explaining here. The less fortunate person. Although they are also in the society, they may be even initiated. But Prabhupada is saying less fortunate people are not at all interested in hearing this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The process is simple, but the application is difficult. Why? Because it requires submission, surrender. Less fortunate people find enough time to hear idle social and political conversation, but when invited to attend the meeting of devotees to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they suddenly become reluctant. They have no time. They have no interest. They have no priority. So is mercy not, being given to them, but they don't accept. They kick it. So those who are really, to some extent, becoming free from centered selfishness can only accept. Not everyone can accept. That is what Prabhupada is saying. The process is simple, but the application is difficult. What one has to give up at least a quantum of sense gratification. Then one can come to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. For any process, then only one can take to any process of devotional service. Okay. So with us, both is there. There is profuse mercy, but also there is our own interest, our own inquisitiveness. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada, see, read the final paragraph. Completely Prabhupada is saying. So, mercy element is there, but what it requires is our inclination, our interest. That is also very important. Then we can access the mercy. Otherwise, mercy cannot be accessed. Okay? If Prabhupada would not have translated in English, what was the possibility? At least for me, there was no possibility of studying Bhagavad Gita or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, because it would have been inaccessible. If it would have been in Sanskrit or Hindi, hardly would have understood what to speak of discussing or, studying and teaching. It is only because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy that this possibility is there. Okay, what is your next question?
Today we discussed that Veda is discussing three kand, Karma Kand, Upasana Kand, and Gyan Kand. So, Prabhuji, the similar means on this basis only in Bhagavad Gita it was discussed by Lord Krishna about the Karma Yoga, Gyan, and Dhyan Yoga and Gyan Yoga.
Yeah. Yeah, these are these various steps on the ladder. Like if you have to go to the top floor, and if you go by stairs, so can you go directly from ground floor to top floor?
No, Prabhuji.
You have to first go to the first floor, then second, third, and so on and so forth. So these are the stepping steps. What is the first is the karma kand. The below karma kand means unregulated, unrestricted life, that is like animal life. So incentive is given. That is what Prabhupada was explaining. We read that purport. No? Prabhupada is explaining in that purport. This purport only. That the Vedas talk about these four things because sense gratification is the aim of material existence. That was there. Yeah. Prabhupada says, it is higher than impersonalist literature and higher than the Gyan Kand division of the Vedas. It is even higher than the Karma Kand division and even higher than the Upasana Kand because it recommends the worship of the Supreme Absolute. So in the Vedas also, these different paths are given to gradually uplift the practitioner from unrestricted, unregulated animal life to come to that is the yoga ladder. The first stepping stone is the karma kand. So at least he accepts the authority of Vedas. And there is some regulation in his life. And then when he does the karma kand, gradually he gets this knowledge, then jnana. And from jnana, then there is upasana. And after worshipping demigods, he comes to realize when he's studying the Vedas, okay, electricity has gone. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that is what Prabhupada was explaining in the purport, it uplifts the practitioner directly to the stage of transcendence. Not step by step. That is Prabhupada gives the example of elevator. If you approach the elevator, then you don't have to stop at first floor, second floor, third floor, or fourth floor, or fifth floor. You can go directly from the ground floor to the top floor. And that elevator is the process of pure devotional service. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is uplifting. Okay.
Yeah, Ji Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
No, is it clear or not?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that is what. So Prabhupada has given us the process of Krishna consciousness, which is transcendental. So it uplifts the practitioner directly from the material plane to the spiritual plane, to the transcendental plane, if he accepts the process wholeheartedly, purely. Okay. So what was your doubt in this?
No, I just wanted to say, clarify that whatever is discussed in Veda, that only has been discussed on that basis. The Lord was discussing in Bhagavad Gita as well.
Yes, that is why Krishna says, Trai gune vishya veda nistal gun bhava Arjuna. Krishna is not recommending Vedas. Rather, Krishna is, in a way, asking Arjuna to go beyond the Vedas. If you see that section we've discussed from so many verses, 45th, and then Krishna says also, in 42 and 43, men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommended various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good worth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. So, and Krishna says, those who are caught in the Vedas, they cannot progress. So, Arjuna, you rise above the Vedas. Krishna is first recommending Vedas at the preliminary stage to Arjuna, and then he is giving the progression to even go higher. Like a child, so many times I've given the example, Prabhupada gives the example. Like a child, when he is to be taught to go to school, he is not directly given the academic school now. He goes to the play school. Isn't it? He likes to go to play school. Why? Because he can play there. He gets sweets and chocolates. He has toys. He has friends. And there is no study given to him. But that is not forever. That is only for first year or 6 months. Then he has to give up all that, what he was doing in his initial days. So similarly, the Vedas are from those, it is to bring the animalistic propensity of the human race to come to some regulation. So it is step by step. Karma Kand, Gyan Kand, and then there are various sections. Sakam Karma, then from Sakam Karma one goes to Nishkam Karma. And one performs Nishkam Karma, then he goes to Gyan Kanda. And when there is Gyan, then there is higher regulation of controlling the mind and senses. That is the Ashtanga Yoga or the Dhyana Yoga. And then we finally comes to Brahman realization. But he cannot progress beyond that. If he performs devotional service, then he can progress. That is why Krishna will conclude in the 6th chapter, final verse. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma seme yukta tamomata. Amongst all the paths that Krishna has explained, we discussed yoga ladder in the 3rd chapter, in the 5th chapter, you remember? All the stages were discussed.
Yes,
Karma
Prabhuji.
kand, kand, upasana kand. So that is the step-by-step process. It may take many, many lifetimes. That is why Krishna says in the 7th chapter, Yesham tu ant gatam, what says? Bahunam janmanam ante, jnanvan mam prapadyante. But Krishna consciousness is direct process. But as Prabhupada is saying today, that although it is simple, but its application is difficult. And only fortunate people who are simple-hearted, who are having the desire to know and serve Krishna can progress. Others, it will be difficult. Okay, I'll stop here. It's a lot of time. If you have any other question, please read the purports. Please put your heart. I request you that at least devote 15 minutes every day. In 15 minutes, you'll be able to read this 3-page purport, pick up the important points. And I say now you cannot forget the verse because we have explained each and every word of the verse. So keep reviewing, keep revising, put it in your heart, so it is never lost. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari. My request is that this month is ending and we are entering to the month of November. So for this yatra of our Braja, if you have talked with some of your known friends or anyone you wish to invite, so please finalize. Please finalize. And the IARI bus, how many seats you have so far? Dayashil Prabhu and Ganesh Prabhu? You have some 15-20 seats still left. So please try to firm that. Today I took 5 more rooms in Vrindavan. I was having accommodation, but somehow by Krishna's mercy, real mercy, I was thinking it is winter and we should not be crammed for space. So now we have 25 rooms in Vrindavan and 2 halls. So easily 100 people can be accommodated. And of course in Govardhan we have accommodation for more than 100 people. But in bus, not more than 100 can be accommodated. So please finalize. Please spend some 10-15 days, finalize. And please prepare our heart. There is no better way to prepare our heart to go to Vraja than to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.